Thank you. Ellen Fine. Again, I don't enjoy cutting people off. I just want to try and make sure that I get as many folks to get their perspective as possible. Because folks here from everywhere.
Thank you to the chairs, Senator Keenan and Representative Sanchez. I've been sitting here wrapped in attention. I would be one of those canary in the coal mine people that we talk about. I first became ill from chemical pesticide poisoning used at my condo properties in New Hampshire. And the more and more you get exposed to it, one of the people that we usually discuss with this issue about Dr. Alex Wu, who wanted to be here today, he sits on the ad hoc scientific advisory panel of FIFRA. Typically what he says is that children should not be exposed to pesticides. Why am I talking about pesticides in a GMO hearing? We know what is involved in the genetically modified seeds and or foodstuffs or crops or things that are sold. When I got sick, and I got sick most recently in Needham, unfortunately my representative Denise Garlick is not here today. She knows my story. I was so sick, I was basically with chemical pneumonia for 5 weeks, lost my menstrual cycle, this is not easy to say in front of people, lost my reproductive capacity, diminished eyesight, shooting pains up and down my back, and this is all just a small part of it. I've also had problems with my heart, not being able to, having constriction in my lungs. These are the sorts of things that many people experience with pesticide poisonings. If I was the only person, I would go move to Canada, where pesticides are banned in 5 provinces. But I'm one of approximately 100,000 people every year in this country, farm workers, horticultural, parents, children who play on fields. You actually had Chemlon application here at the State House within the past couple of days. All of these people, as well as yourselves, are exposed to that as well. It is also part of the process. So my doctors in Canada suggested that I not eat pesticide foods. I need this information for my health. The one last thing that I'm going to say is 2 last little quick things. I have my genetic testing here, which shows that I do not detox very well. This is the only genetic testing that I feel really comfortable or genetically engineered stuff right now, but I'm also going to speak on behalf of Jewish people. What is the food that Jewish people eat most Saturday mornings, bar mitzvahs, whatever? Lots and bagels and cream cheese. Right here in Massachusetts, we are genetically working on the development of genetically engineered salmon to inject eel genes into salmon. I've had 2 conversations with my rabbis recently about this. They said that no, eel is not kosher. So by not having that information on the label, you're asking a large group of people to basically contravene their beliefs. The last thing I will say is that we formed a little group, Green Citizen Lobbying. You will hear from some of us later. We've been working on research, and we've been working on information to compare what's happening in other countries, the medical information. We're working on a report to bring to you in the coming weeks. We look forward. This is just the beginning of the conversation, and you will hear from some of our high school students as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Daniel Encarnación.
I would say they're in a panel together, Joshua, Donna, and Daniel.
First of all, I'd like to thank Chairman Keenan and Chairman Sanchez and the rest of the committee for hearing my testimony today. We're working on this really late, Daniel Encarnación, and we were working on this really late, so we didn't have a chance to make copies for everybody. Sorry about that. But I'm here. So I've been interested in my health and well-being for some time now. This has led me to urban gardening and into the research of genetically engineered and genetically modified organisms. People of all walks of life and from different socioeconomic communities express concerns in the global process of Monsanto. These concerns are in regards to the controversial research of GMOs. Short research trials do not measure the risk of acute toxicity. Labeling GMOs will help track the long-term effect GMOs have on our children. Also, I want to be able to walk in the supermarket and make an informed decision decision. In my city, there are no organic food shops. I want the freedom to be able to eat food without mutation or contaminants. The ability to know what I put in my body. I have a right to know.
Thank you, sitting committee members, for hearing my testimony today. My name is Joshua William Dunn, graduate of Lynn Classical 2013. Go Rams. As a citizen of the United States, I am here to ask you to say no to GMOs by labeling these products. There has been nearly not enough time and research done to show these crops. Being born in 1994, I have grown up in the genetically modified generation. We have been through pink slime and fast food to corn with pesticides. All I'm asking for is just to label these. 65% of our students receive free or reduced lunches. It has only recently been banned, the pink slime recently been banned a year ago. Empower the people today by giving us the right to know what's in our foods. Yesterday was my first experience with jury duty, and seeing the judiciary process work was amazing. As a voter, and someday I plan to help my community and the world, I ask, please, make sure you label these products. My generation is the future. We ask to give us a helping hand and a healthy tomorrow. It's time to take concern in what we eat. Food is an everyday aspect of all our lives. We all need to eat, some more than others. But we all deserve the right to
You're looking at me.
I'm guilty too. We all deserve the right to know. And as hypocrisy once professed long ago, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Thank you very much.
Who wants to go after that? Dorothy Anderson and John Barnett. John Barnett, Dorothy Anderson, and Lewis Howe. No? Raise your hand so that oh, here we go. All right, welcome. Name for the record, please.
I'm John Barnett.
Welcome.
GMOs are experimental. Those who have the most to lose from this experiment are our children and grandchildren. We cannot treat them like laboratory mice. To do so is a betrayal of their trust in us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Dorothy Anderson, mother of 5, grandmother of 6, great-grandmother of 4. I want foods to be labeled, and I want the state to do it for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your testimony. John Gawley, Janice Leary, Linda Wren. Linda Wren, Janice Leary, and John Gawley. Welcome.
Oh, hey. I'm John Gawley, and I'm a goat herder and chef. I don't want to eat GM foods, and I don't want to feed my livestock, so I would like them labeled. Thank you.
You wish to have a farm in Cohasset?
Yes, in Hingham, actually, Monastery.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me today. My name is Janice Leary Jones. I'm a mother of 2 small children, a special education teacher, a small business owner, and a food right advocate. Labeling of GMO foods is an issue that's an incredibly important one to me. It's extremely difficult to make good food choices for my children in the day-to-day. It's quite a challenge. And it is so important to me because I did grow up in an era where we were told that you are what you eat. And I take that seriously when I'm making food choices for my children. I ask myself, do I want my children ingesting the BT toxin and then becoming them? Do I want to have their building blocks and cells made from food that has been genetically modified? And of course, my answer is around resounding no, I do not. So as a result, I put an extreme amount of effort into making good food choices for my children. Thankfully, I do have the training and education to do so. In the summer of 2004, when my husband, John Leary, was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, we were told by his oncologist, Dana-Farber, that at that point people did not survive gastrointestinal stromal tumors. Aghast, we did all that we could to help his situation, focusing a great deal on food because remember, you are what you eat. We switched to a diet that removed all food toxins. When he went to visit his oncologist in 2007, 3 days before he passed away, just so that he could ask, Doc, is there anything else that I can do? Her response was, John, Whatever it is that you're doing, keep it up, because it's working. You see, John had lived well past when they had ever expected him to. That conversation, in addition to so many other experiences in my life, have resulted in reaffirming that all the work that I do to make good choices for my children in the day-to-day is worth it. At this point, that means no ordering sandwiches with Band-Aids, because 98% of soybeans raised today contain GMOs. That means that even something as simple as mayonnaise is contaminated. At a sushi bar, having some soy sauce, forget it, out of the question. We are always told that it's the simple things in life that matter. Well, these two very simple things, in small examples, pile up all day long, making life incredibly challenging for a mother who simply wants to feed her children nourishing food. I am here not just speaking for myself, but for all of the children of the state who should be allowed access to a safe food supply. We have all seen the pictures of the lab rats. Why subject innocent children to this diet? It is unavoidable to consume GMO food today. You and I are both doing it. Let us label GMO foods to raise awareness and effect real change for our children of the state.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your courage for coming here today.
Hello, and thank you to Chairman Keenan and Chairman Sanchez. My name is Linda Wren, and I'm a mom. That is nice that means a lot in a place like this, but I would like to share with you what it's like to be consumer lonely out there in the world. I'm raising 4 children, and there are 3 reasons why I want you to approve labeling GMO foods. One is because I am concerned about my children's health. I also work as a speech-language pathologist with the elderly. I'm concerned about their health. And I've been doing that since 1994, when one of your testifying students was born. I'm also in favor of labeling GMOs because I am a beekeeper. The reason I became a beekeeper is because I learned what these pesticides and herbicides were doing to the bee population, and we need the bees. So my husband and I decided we would be beekeepers, and it's effort. It's like adopting an emergency room patient. You don't know if they're going to make it. You just do the best that you can for them. We're trying to be good stewards of the planet that way. The third reason that I think it's important for you to label GMOs is because I have respect for nature the way that it is. And I deserve the right to know what I'm supporting when I buy a product. I don't need you to know whether that tomato is the equivalent of the GMO tomato or the non-GMO tomato. I need you to know that I want a choice because I don't respect what they're doing to those plants and animals and the environment. I don't need them to spray Roundup Ready on those fields and kill those weeds. My bees don't like monocultures. They like to have choices out there in the fields of what to eat, and they're paying us back by giving us really good honey and pollinating our plants and our stone fruits, stuff you eat every day. So I need for those things to be labeled so that I can make a choice. Greg Costa would have you believe that we already have a choice. We don't. I hadn't even thought of the soy. Obviously it's soy, but when I put on my sushi, the soy sauce, I hadn't even thought about that yet. I hadn't,
Thank you for your
I'm over it, that's it.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Vaughn Sherrill, Craig Fear, Dean Sison. I would say you got about 2 minutes apiece because I have to give up a room.
Hi, thank you to the chairmen and the committee for giving me this opportunity to speak today. My name is, and GMO products affect me on an ethical level. And I am a vegan, so that means that I choose not to consume, wear, or use anything derived from animals for ethical and spiritual reasons. Now, I'm not asking Monsanto or anybody to be vegan or vegetarian, but when I go to a grocery store, I have to read labels carefully so that I know I'm not consuming any animal byproducts. And throughout my research on GMOs, I've learned that scientists use what's called recombinant DNA technology to create GMOs. This means that genes from different species and bacteria are combined with one another to produce a hybrid. I discovered different examples of vegetables being produced as a result of this technology. One example someone mentioned earlier, a flounder tomato, and also one being potato. Scientists are actually combining genes from chicken embryos with potatoes to create a disease-resistant potato. Now, as a vegan, I need to know, I need to have GMO foods labeled to prevent from buying vegetables like potatoes that could be tainted with animal genes. Granted, I'm not eating the flesh of the chicken embryo, by consuming this kind of potato, but the potato becomes an animal byproduct when it has the chicken gene in it. And so I'm kind of not really living in alignment with my values by, choosing these fruits and vegetables. And fruits and vegetables should be a no-brainer for a vegetarian or vegan. It's kind of like, eating vegetables that have been simmered in beef broth. So I'm just asking you guys to please, consider the ethical and spiritual values of those of us who really don't want to take part in animal cruelty by consuming genetically modified fruits and vegetables. So thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the committee for hearing my testimony. My name is Craig Fear. I'm a certified nutritional therapy practitioner, and I have a nutritional counseling practice out in Northampton. So some of my testimony's been kind of set, so I'll honor the request of the chairman and just kind of skip to a few different points I can make. So,
Just give me your
biggest thing, sure.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah, sure. So in my practice, I see autistic kids. A lot of people come to me with autism, and I work with a diet that specifically addresses autism. It's called the GAPS diet, and it's an acronym that stands for Gut and Psychology Syndrome. It was developed by a medical doctor named Natasha Campbell McBride. And there's a lot of health practitioners who've been certified by Dr. McBride around the world. I'm one of them. And university, we are seeing incredible improvements in autistic kids' health on the GAPS diet. So first and foremost, the GAPS diet removes all processed foods. Well, over 80% of all processed food in America contains GMOs. Now, admittedly, I don't know when they get better, how much it has to do with GMOs compared to all the other chemicals in these processed foods, trans fats, preservatives, pesticides. But I do know that people get better. And it makes sense to me that people should be informed so they can at least be on the safe side and choose not to consume GMOs, especially if they have kids. So as it stands now, we don't have the right to know what's in our food because of lack of labeling. And just to say what the man from GMA said regarding we can find it in organic food or non-GMO with those labels. I work with a lot of folks who can't afford those foods, and I try to educate them where these GMO foods are, and it's very difficult. So even though if they know what these GMO foods are, corn, cottonseed, canola, soy, the labeling is very, very deceptive, and these GMO foods are hidden in the derivatives of these foods. So for example, GMO corn is hidden in things like maltodextrin, sorbitol, malt extract, MSG, so very difficult for people to figure it out. I'll just wrap it up real quick and say that I really support these three labeling bills to support GMO labeling. Thank you.
Dean, thank you very much. No problem. Thanks for giving me whatever time I could take. I'm going to cut back on my comments and just get to the heart of it. Everything else has been covered in spades. I'm a businessman. I own a very successful organic food processing business here in Massachusetts. $4 million, 12 employees, better healthcare than you guys got. We have just 20,000 web customers around the country. We do. And we're hiring, sure. Please. Okay, we do coffee, we do cocoa, and we do sugar from 14 countries around the world, and I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm also an environmental and corporate attorney, Wall Street experience, the whole ball of wax, and I even like Dunkin' Donuts, but I don't like the styrofoam cups. Okay, what I'm here to say today basically is, as a businessman, I don't get it.
I don't believe you.
There's absolutely no reason from a business point of view not to label GMO products. I'm a businessman. I have no problem with that. We change our labels all the time. Every one of those corporations, including us, we got something new to say. We throw out 10,000 labels and print up 10,000 more labels with the stroke of a keypad. It's not a big deal. Like my mother used to say, if you're trying to hide something, then you don't want to tell people about it. That's what she would say. So for GMOs, I mean, to me, the only reason you want to hide, and I used to work for large corporations as a lawyer on Wall Street, I can tell you, if you want to hide something, the way to do it is make sure the legislation doesn't force you to reveal it. So I think this is a real ball of baloney. It's easy to label GMO products or in ingredients. It's not saying anything about the product being inferior. That's a consumer's choice. A business is the bridge between the producer and the consumer for flow of information, and we want to be honest and transparent about it, and we have no issue with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Folks, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for, I know it's hard, the subject on both sides. So just to let you know, of the 65 people that we started out with, we ended up, this 25 of you that didn't have the opportunity to come and testify. But that doesn't mean that you do not have an opportunity, thank you, at least somebody, right? That doesn't mean that you do not have the opportunity to engage us. My research director, Tim O'Neill, is at your disposition. If you have any further comments or anything, send us over an email so that we can make sure that we're taking it into consideration as we look further into this piece of legislation. This is pretty much the end of the hearing. I appreciate all of you listening to and giving me the opportunity to kind of manage this today. And again,